we don't understand that we are in a culture war because we live in America. Generally, it's a lot of prosperity, although, of course, there's problems and there's sin issues and there's a lot of battles that the church needs to be fighting. Like, the home, each and every day, also is fighting a culture war. And I don't think women think about that. It's like, well, because you're at home, you have all the time in the world. We've adopted the Betty Friedan mindset of, well, the home is actually just worthless. If you choose to be a mom, or if you're a female that's not career first, then, you know, you're a loser. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Feminine Glory podcast. I am one of your hosts, Lydia Edmonds, and I'm joined by my delightful co-host, Esther Edmonds.
Hello, everyone.
And we have a fun topic planned for today. But first, Esther must read an advertisement.
Are you tired of being subject to the current trends at clothing stores? Stores that are offering you immodesty, high prices, and poor quality clothing? The Feminine Glory store exists with a resolution not to listen to fads, but to help women find cute and yet classy clothing. The Feminine Glory store is a mom and daughter shop designed to bring women the type of materials that they need to beautify themselves, their homes, and their lives in a classic and affordable way that ultimately brings glory to God. Women have been given the unique task of taking dominion by making things beautiful, and that ultimately reflects the truth, goodness, and beauty of our Creator. Help us show the world what biblical beauty looks like. Head over to feminineglory.store today. That's feminineglory.store. And I am wearing clothes from our store. I have the Zinzendorf pants and the Margaret sweater. They're both very
of those.
Comfortable. So,
but why buy from us? We're clowns.
Do people say that?
Someone sent us they just did it in emojis.
They call us clowns?
They did clown and then apostrophe S.
Oh, that's funny. I did not know that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well. Oh, well.
It did take me a minute to figure out what the emoji was, though.
Oh, well. Too bad. Okay. So, Lydia, how are you doing? We haven't given an update.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, we have, but not on the podcast in a while, so.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing good. Fantastic. I am trying to juggle everything we have going on, I guess. Especially because
Speaking of clowns.
Because we're at the stage where, like, we're about to start, like, planting and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my seedlings, my plugs that I ordered that I told everyone about on an earlier episode are about to be shipped to me. So that's exciting. So I gotta get ready for that, and then ordering a few more things to plant probably, and then trying to balance like the busyness of the store and then the podcast, like scheduling out social media content, juggling the interviews, getting orders shipped out from the store. So just balancing all of that while also still like learning, because
and yourself being interviewed.
Yeah. Oh, like you and me, or
no? Like you are being asked to be interviewed.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I guess that'll come out soon. So exciting stuff. But yeah, just trying to balance everything, and then also hospitality. We're doing where we're hosting families from our church on Saturdays during Sabbath dinner. So that's super fun. And then for those of you that follow along on social media, you've probably seen I'm doing a bouquet of the month. So I'm going to have, I think, quite a lot of like hospitality flowers coming up. There's some events and exciting things in the lives of my family members. And so, but then the bouquet of the month, which is super fun because I'm trying to do things I've never done before and like stretch my skills and just get out of my comfort zone. So, but it's actually been super fun so far. But yeah,
that's great.
Just balancing everything. I've been really enjoying reading. Yeah. I had to tell myself basically like kids my age, young adults my age are still in school and it's okay to sit down and read a book. Like there was a time when that was like my everyday, you know, you have 5-6 hours of classes.
Yeah.
And so it's important, it's necessary, and it's okay. So
yeah. Yeah, reading has definitely been a difficult thing to juggle, I feel like. Just trying to get everything that you need to get done, and then still have time to get all your reading in. Because we have reading for research for the podcast,
Yes.
reading for personal research, reading for other, if we're like taking classes or something, reading for that, and then, just trying to also read some things that are just for fun. Because we can
Yeah. Like
read things just for
Jane
fun.
Austen or Wodehouse or something.
Wodehouse is my go-to fun book right now, but I do have this book from you, Lydia, that I am so ready to dive into on John and Abigail Adams, but I can't yet. I have to finish the other book first.
What was that one called? My Dearest Friend.
Yes. I'm very excited to read that. I think it'll be fun.
Speaking of reading, how's Lewis? You're in your Lewis year?
I am. It's good. I am working through the problem of pain.
Is it painful?
It's very good. It's very okay. So I don't know if it's just I'm naive, but and not as well versed, but it's very heady. And I'm having to like really concentrate as I read it. So that's been good to go through that. And then also it has some interesting theories in that book, but I think it was just because he was a younger Christian.
Yeah, I'm curious to see your based on what you told me, if his thought processes change. If he changes.
I hope so. I hope so.
So besides Lewis, what you got going on?
Goodness. Sewing jobs.
Yes.
For the store and elsewhere, and lots of hosting, planning for events, life events for people,
which is always fun.
Those are fun. Yeah, and helping. I'm trying to think of all that I'm doing. I could say so many, but as soon as
there's also like day in and day out stuff you have to do to keep life rolling.
Yeah. Well, like animal chores, obviously. Just the typical things that you would do around the house. And we're just talking about like the extra things. And really the abortion bill in the state of Georgia has really taken up a lot of my time. So I'm working on that, calling, emailing, trying to stay up to date on all of that fun stuff. So that's pretty much where I'm at. So I feel like pretty much a lot of the time is taken up by things like that, like random things here and there. And also content creation always takes a hefty minute.
It is another job.
It is.
Good times. So what are we talking about today? Besides ourselves, what we're up to?
We're talking about women that need to get it together.
That sounds harsh. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so what we mean, there are a lot of women out there that, and I know we've talked about this before on the podcast, but we're going to put a new spin on it today.
Ooh.
That have really just allowed their day to serve their own needs.
Okay. In what way?
So you have like the women of America, right? And they're quote unquote busy.
Sure.
But it's, I gotta go get my nails done, and I gotta go get my hair done, and I've gotta go work out at the gym, and I've gotta go, to the grocery store. Oh, I'm gonna go to coffee with friends. Oh, I'm tired, and so, I'm gonna take a nap, or, like they're constant, like they're busy, but they're not actually excelling at what they do. And even some homemakers that, whether you're really just in any sphere of life, whether you're single or whether you're a mom, whether you're homemaking, whatever you're doing, they are not working as unto the Lord, they're
Yeah.
working like for the chick flick at the end of the day, and they're working towards putting their feet up. They're working towards the Tuesday night movie, you know what I mean, or whatever it is. And so what we're trying to talk about is that Christians at large, especially Christian women, have just treated their day as a day that can serve them. And I think especially too, this would happen to, we know people would talk to mom when we were younger and mom was homeschooling us. And people just assumed that because mom was homeschooling, that we could just go anywhere and everywhere at any given day for a play date, for a picnic, for, whatever it might be. Like, oh, can the kids come over and watch a movie? And you're like, no, they're schooling.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I remember mom telling us it really struck her as odd. It didn't strike us as odd until we got older because, we were the ones, all we had ever known was just this was a school day and this is what happens. But even with, I think now the unschooling movement and all of that, I think that a lot of women have stopped treating their day as something that they can turn a profit on and started turning their day into like, how can I get through the day with as little problems as possible for myself and for the kids and for whoever it might be. So that way, when it comes to after dinner, I can prop my feet up and, fill in the blank, do whatever. And I think that has been a really big mistake in taking ground for the kingdom, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of it does, stems from, I think, just a lack of a biblical understanding of we don't understand the Bible. We don't understand what we're on this earth to do. We don't understand, we were talking about in the last episode, the God that we serve. And so it stems from that. But another way is also that we don't understand that we are in a culture war.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because we live in America, generally it's a lot of prosperity. Although, of course, there's problems and there's sin issues and there's a lot of battles that the church needs to be fighting. Like the home each and every day also is fighting a culture war.
Yep.
And I don't think women think about that. It's like, well, because you're at home, you have all the time in the world. It's like, we've adopted the Betty Friedan mindset of, well, the home is actually just worthless. If you choose to be a mom or, if you're a female that's not career first, then, you're a loser.
I think that really just put the nail in the coffin because I think that women have now at this point, because they're not getting a paycheck, they've treated their day, they've bought into the lie that what you're saying, like, I am just a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I think, some ladies, especially in reformed circles, would never say, I'm just a mom, right? Because we all know better. That's not something that you say. That we don't believe that ideology, but I think we really haven't realized that we've bought into that lie in more than one way. And it's like, just because you don't say it doesn't mean that you don't live like that. And I think that the women, like the husbands, they get up, they go to work, they have a time set where they have to work, they have a certain amount of hours, they have to work for the boss in order to get a certain amount of money. And I think that because women don't have that, mindset that what they're doing day in and day out has an influence and it has an impact and it actually is a work day, that they've now just kind of treated the day as like, what do I want to do today? What do I need to do today? You know what I mean? And so it's just like, oh, well, I have time to, I don't know, whatever. Like I have time to sit down with the baby and watch this show or watch this movie or doom scroll on Instagram while the baby breastfeeds for however long. And you're like that. And I think what we're trying to say here is that is still buying into the lie of thinking that you're just a mom. Like, so you have all the time to do these things. And in fact, it's like, if you looked at your time, if you actually, as Christians, if we looked, and especially as Christian women, we looked upon our time as something that the Lord has given us to turn a profit on, it would radically alter then how we work during the day, because your husband is going out and he's working and he only gets a set amount of breaks. in his day. But especially for stay-at-home women, whether you're just, I know that there are some just stay-at-home wives. I know that there are stay-at-home moms. You need to be capitalizing on your time in the home.
Yes.
If that is something your husband has decided that you need to do. Now, I know that there's an idea going around that women should only be focused on, like, should only work within the four corners of their house. And we definitely do not agree with that.
Like, you couldn't have a side hustle.
Right, right. And so, but if you have time to do a side hustle, then do a side hustle. If that's what you've got time for, then do that. And it's not going to hinder, just make sure it doesn't hinder what's happening in the home. If you notice that once you start the side hustle that, you have started to neglect things in the home that really needed to have been tended to, and you can see that your husband and your children are suffering for it, then stop the side hustle. That's just not something that the Lord has decided for you to do at the moment. But if your husband and children aren't suffering for it and you can manage it and you're just really good at time management, then by all means do a side hustle. But do it with excellence. Whatever you do, it with excellence, as unto the Lord.
And I think that's really what's sad, is that because they have, perhaps without knowing, adopted the just a mom mindset, or I'm just a woman, therefore I'm inferior and I can't do these certain things, right? I can't be fruitful in these certain ways. Or you're just like looking for, it's the women that kind of make a career out of looking for a husband, because it's like, while you have all this time, be using that to be fruitful and bring money into a marriage, bring things that you have mastered, skills, be renewing your mind through learning and reading the Bible. So like, bring all those skills into a marriage. Marriage is wonderful, but don't make a career out of looking for a husband. But when women kind of adopt this feministic mindset, this idea that is not biblical womanhood, is not biblical femininity, we like, I just keep going back to like in the garden, and I know there's so many other things going on here with what I'm about to say, so many other layers to this, but Eve being the mother of all living, right? You just think about, and you think about that, and I think about what women should be. Everywhere, every area that the woman has domain over should just be full of life. Like, there should just be abundance and joy and gratitude and just everything that screams a life that is honoring to the Lord. Like, that should be all women everywhere.
I completely agree. And I think that whatever is your domain, going back to that point, whatever is your domain, and I would include in that, part of your domain is where you live locally. And so, women should be involved in, what's happening locally with politics. You know what I mean? And so, like, again, we've noticed that with our state, that we have, unfortunately, and I'm talking about you and I know we've talked about this before, we've been apathetic to what's been happening. And what this involvement in the bill for HB 441 has really showed us is that we as women have really just left that alone. And I think even as men too, and I know that there's, the talk about the 19th Amendment being revoked, and that's another story for another time. And so, but I'm saying right now, we all have a vote. And we are being held accountable by God to how we vote. And so, are you politically informed? Not to the point where you're, having anxiety over it, but are you politically informed? That is part of your domain. Are you taking care of it? Are you taking care of the landscape? Are you taking care of inside your home? Are you taking care of, if you do have a side hustle, is that side hustle, are you doing it with excellence? Are you making dinner with excellence? And, some people might be like, well, that's not biblical. Well, let's point to a biblical example. Hang on, I gotta take off my stuff here.
Came with a stack.
I did come with a stack. I was prepared this time. All right, let's see. Let's turn to Proverbs 31, since that's the typical example. But I think that women don't often actually look at what she's doing. They just say, let's be Proverbs 31 women. But if you actually are going to say that, let's look at everything that she's doing.
Okay.
Okay?
Go for it.
So who can find a virtuous wife? So clearly she is a virtuous wife. And now Solomon's going to go into explaining what a virtuous wife looks like. The heart of her husband safely trusts in her. He will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hands. So she's not dainty and she's not the Victorian stereotype that can't get her hands dirty. She is like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. So she's researching and importing food for her family. I would imagine that's because she's looking for the best price with the best quality of food. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household. And she provides a portion for her maidservants. So she's serving the servants. So she's making sure that everyone has their food, has good food. So this is requiring a lot of work. She considers a field and buys it. So she's involved in real estate. From her profits, she plants a vineyard. So she's also growing things. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. So she is a physically strong woman.
Yep.
Because she's doing a lot. Like you can clearly see, we're only in verse 17 here. She's doing a lot.
Well, and strong not because she cares too much about her physical appearance.
Right.
Strong because she's doing hard labor.
Yep. And she's girding herself with strength. She perceives that her merchandise is good, and her lamp does not go out by night. So she's, again, there it is again. She's just getting it. Like, she is maxing out her time. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle. She extends her hands to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. So there you go. So she's also caring about what's happening around her. It's not just the four corners of her house. She's caring for her community. She wants to make sure that everyone around her, wherever she touches, is taken care of. And she is blessing them. She is not afraid of snow for her household. Her household is clothed with scarlet. So she's making sure everyone is clothed. Everyone's physical needs are provided for. She makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. So see there, it's not just she's just trying to make it. She is proactively trying to give her family things that are high quality, that are done with excellence. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them and supplies sashes for the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing. You have that common, all the guys for Gladiator, and it's like strength and honor.
Yeah.
Like she is, strength and honor are her clothing. And so she is, again, there it is. And I think it's pointing out here too, if you look at the text, that it's not just, like, you can tell, like, mentally she's strong too. Like, she's not afraid of the snow because she's providing for her family. And she is just working really hard. And she is honorable, and she's making her husband honorable because she is a glorious crown upon his head because now the family is provided for. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. So she is very competent, extremely competent. You can clearly see by all the things that she is doing. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. So she ain't lazy.
She's not living for the Tuesday night movie.
Yep. And she's studying her family. She's watching how her household works. She's watching the ways of her household. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord shall be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
See, that just dispels any lies too, that the end part there about the people who say though that because you're just a mom, there's no joy there. You won't be fulfilled. And you shouldn't come to it seeking fulfillment, right? Like seeking, right, what can this give me? But in the end, by taking the form of a servant, by laying down your life for the betterment of your family, there is fulfillment there. There is joy. There is fruit that flows out of that hard work when done in fear and honor before the Lord.
Yep. And she is an excellent wife. She is doing things with excellence. And then that produces what we were talking about, the difference between productivity and fruitfulness. That produces fruitfulness.
Well, even if you look at too, the heart of her husband safely trusts in her.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that what is in her hands is taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
She is so capable. She is so competent. And she does things with excellence that he knows what is she has dominion over is taken care of.
And he trusts in that. And he trusts that she'll do a good job and she'll represent him well. And she fears the Lord. And so she is working as unto the Lord. The Lord has given this for her to do because the Lord believes that she can do it. And so she is working as unto the Lord. And she's working excellently. And you can tell because she is wise. She is turning a profit basically on everything she's been given. And I know that there are some people that say this woman didn't exist and that it's just a model that we can all strive to be, but we actually no woman can ever theoretically be. That's just a lie. There are clearly a lot of practical tips there that women need to do better at. And I was actually listening to a talk just today, actually, by David Bahnsen, that Christians believe, and I think this is so true, especially of in the modern evangelical culture, that when you become a Christian, the Lord only changes your heart, and that's where Christianity needs to stay. And we talk about all of Christ for all of life, and it's almost become this, like among Reformed circles, it's now almost just become like, yeah, all of Christ for all of life, I got it. But do you actually believe all of Christ for all of life? Like, can people see that the task that you have been given, the domain that you have been given to work, is it done with excellence? Because Christians should be the best at everything.
Yes. And there's so many things I want to say to that are coming through my mind from stuff I'm reading. I'll just say, I won't go off to a rabbit trail on this, but when you're talking about that Christianity, people believe that Christianity needs to stay in the heart. If you want a good kind of breakdown, I'm working through Love Thy Body by Nancy Pearcey right now. And she's talking about something that she learned from Schaeffer, actually, Francis Schaeffer, that is called I think it's in the academic world, they call it the fact value split, where, I think she was saying it came, kind of originated with the Greeks and Gnosticism and asceticism, that the material world, like at creation itself was a sort of fall. And so of course our bodies being in the material world are actually evil and bad. And so dying, right, and going to heaven would be, like that's where we need to be. And so they deny even that Jesus was incarnate. And so anyway, so that just made me think about them thinking about the material world. And I think Christians, we have actually somewhat adopted that.
Yes.
Like, this world is not my home. I'm just passing through. It doesn't matter what I do on earth. Like, if I can just get it to heaven.
Yeah.
And so we don't take dominion seriously. And there's actually a great quote. Do you care if I read it from that book?
Please do.
Okay. So I guess I kind of did take that rabbit trail, but I won't go any farther. But it said, that is why C.S. Lewis calls Christianity a fighting religion. He means that disciples of Jesus are not meant to passively allow evil to flourish on earth while looking forward to escaping someday to a higher realm. Instead, they are called to actively fight evil here and now. The doctrine of the resurrection means that the physical world matters. It matters to God, and it should matter to God's people. And even Chesterton talks about that and what's wrong with the world. And I think this is where, sadly, a lot of Christian women end up. Even, and I'm not just meaning, Christian in name only. I mean, actual, they have regenerate Christian women. And so what Chesterton talks about is, he says, the process itself, divorced from its divine object, becomes doubtful and even morbid. And so that we are left with the process. I am just a mom. I am just here to make babies. I am just here to get dinner on the table. I am just here to clean laundry. And we have completely separated it from the greater mission that is at work, both in the home and then in the world.
Yep. And I think that, if we all strive to do that with excellence, if you're lacking joy, if your family is lacking joy, did you look at how mealtime went? When was the last time you checked how mealtime went with your family? Like, are you presenting them with beautiful, delicious food? Are you putting the candles on the table? Are you setting the table as if guests were going to come over to your house? Are you being hospitable to your own family first? Like, does your family actually enjoy being at the table? Or is it just, here you go, I got food on the table, ta-da, now I'm done. I did it. That was the grand finale. And it's like, but does your family actually enjoy? Because I know that Douglas Wilson has brought up before that where culture change happens is at the family table. Mm-hmm. So are you treating the family table like culture changes there? Have you created loyalties to your family where now they love mom's food, they love the table, they love chatting, and they could chat for hours at the table and not get tired? And I know if you have small kids like that, obviously at some point they're going to need to go to bed. But the point is that are you doing things with excellence? Are you doing things with a grateful, joyous attitude? Are you doing things, maybe trying to push beyond, trying new things? Are you, maybe it's like, all I did today was get dinner on the table, but I did take the time today, and obviously all the other things like laundry and diapers and things like that. But I did take the time today to try out this new French loaf recipe where I had to change it I had to fold it every hour, and you know what I mean? And like, or if you're making a delicious croissant, you had to laminate it, you know what I mean? And like all of the activities that surround that specific type of food, but you created that food with the mindset of, yes, this will be consumed in just a matter of an hour once everyone gets to the table. But I may have given them the opportunity to actually taste and see that the Lord is good. Mm-hmm. The Lord created this food for you. The Lord created this. The Lord used me to bless you tonight. And so I am glad that you enjoyed the food. I'm glad that you wanted to stay for several hours at the dinner table. I am glad that I'm glad that it blessed your soul. Now, thank the Lord, because the Lord just used me as a byproduct, or as a mediator to give you this delicious meal. And so when we do things in excellence, we are pointing back to Christ. We are showing people that are witnessing, whoever it might be, at our work, at the park, if you're taking a stroll with your family after all of the work is done, you know what I mean? Whatever it may be, wherever you are, even to your own family, are you obeying God as such that you're working unto Him and joyously, rigorously working in the task that the Lord has provided you and given you, knowing that there is so much work that the Lord is doing out and about the entire world, and you're just a mere reflection of that.
And I think something that our dad said to us the other day that I thought was really profound, especially in light of the fact that a lot of, once again, Christian women have adopted this idea of nap culture. Mm-hmm. I think in the broad sense, whether Christians or non-Christians, it's something our culture has adopted, but I know even some Christian women have adopted it as well. But he said something to the effect of, do you want a well done, even if it means you're worn out? Mm. Yeah. And I thought that was just excellent, because I was like, well, that is true. Like, being a Christian is like, it's a fight every day. You have to get up and fight the good fight. You have to run the race with endurance, all the while relying upon the Lord, looking to the Lord. But it's not easy, you're not, and this goes back to what we were talking about the last episode too, even, but it's not easy, but it's also like you can have a lot of fun along the way. And I think that's also an element that's missing, is moms aren't fun to be around.
No.
which is really sad. It just kills me for the little kids.
Well, and even I want to go back to the what you were saying about the you should be worn out when you go to bed. There are several people that, you know, we have talked to, or just in our culture today at large, that people are having trouble sleeping. And, you know, there are all these different pills that they can take, and, you know, there are a myriad of things that people do, or they fall asleep and they wake up way too early and they're just like, I can't sleep. And I'm not talking about the what I'm about to say. I'm going to give a caveat here. I'm not talking about that odd moment or that weird spot in time where maybe you're sick and you can't sleep, or, you know, you've got something really weighty on your mind and you're, you know, anticipating that, or you're praying to the Lord about that, whatever. If you can't sleep for that, then, you know, that's, everyone has that at different times. But I'm talking about like the just a prototypical day people can't go to sleep. You're not working hard enough if you can't go to sleep. Like it takes no time at all for everyone in this family to fall asleep. Like that's just, you know, that's just what happens when you are working super hard. Like it does not take you long to fall asleep. So if you're having trouble sleeping, first of all, it could be a spiritual problem. You're not, you don't have the peace of God within you. But on like just a basic level, like you just aren't working hard enough. If you're having trouble sleeping, you know, like you should, if you've really maximized your day, you're going to bed completely worn out. Like just so worn out. Like you cannot wait to go to bed. Like that's when you know that you have really just physically, mentally worked hard. And I think that a lot of people just don't, they think, like the men think that when work is over, I'm done for the day. And the women are thinking, what can I do so that way, same thing, when, you know, when generally the work culture is done with work, I want to be done. Like as soon as dinner gets on the table, I want to be done. I want to clean it up and I'm done. But the difference between the men and the women is that the women haven't actually treated the rest of their day like a work day up until the point of when they want to stop the work day when everyone else stops the work day.
Yeah. And even you were talking about not doing enough, and it reminded me too. Even something I know our family has talked about around the dinner table several times is even the then qualifications for widows in, what's that, Timothy?
First Timothy?
I'll
look it up while you keep talking.
But some of the, like, our dad pointed out, and he was like, they are not to be idle and they're not to be gossips. So there's qualifications, like there's things that these ladies ought to be doing. And it's almost like another Proverbs 31 type of woman. They have to have been so productive and been fruitful and maxed out their time and done all of these things and been faithful to their families in order for the church to then support them, right? Like they're not just going to do, if you're being idle, if you're wasting your time, you don't qualify. And so I think that's a big, and he also said, this made me laugh. He said, and God chose to have that in the Bible for all of time.
Yep.
Like that part about women, like, so obviously it's something that women struggle with, right? Like there's certain ones that for the men that are in there. But this one in particular, did you find it?
I did find it.
Okay, go for it.
1 Timothy 5, starting in verse 9.
Okay.
So yeah, there are, if you have not read 1 Timothy before, there really is a qualification for whether the church will support a widow or not. And so here we go. So do not let a widow under 60 years old be taken into the number, and not unless she has been the wife of one man, well reported for good works, if she has brought up children, if she has lodged strangers, if she has washed the saints' feet, if she has relieved the afflicted, if she has diligently followed every good work. And then it goes on to say, but refuse the younger widows, for when they have begun to grow wanton against Christ, they desire to marry, having condemnation because they have cast off their first faith. And besides, they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but also gossips and busybodies, saying things which they ought not. So, clearly, women with too much time on their hands become idle gossips and busybodies. And that is not a you may not then be supported by the church if that was what you were. Clearly the woman the widow that was going to be supported was getting it. Again, like the Proverbs 31 woman. So it's very clear. It's an expectation of the Lord that this is how Christian women ought to operate.
Yeah.
Good works, very diligent, doing things with excellence. So she has raised godly children. Mm-hmm. So she's done her job and she's done it well. And so, it's very unfortunate to see, we've seen just as we've grown up, people that maybe as we were growing up had smaller kids and now the kids are getting older and, or just, just kids as we see down the street or, wherever it may be. You can tell that the wives are not being diligent when the husband is gone to raise them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. It's apparent. There's a clear, I respect dad and I completely disrespect mom. And that's the mom's fault. It ultimately goes back to the head. She's a poor reflection upon her husband, but she definitely is not doing what God instructed her to do, which is raise your children in the nurture and admonition of him. And so it's very sad to see that they're clearly not working diligently with the kids while the husband is gone.
Yeah, and I think once again it goes back to a mindset that it's just not important. Mm-hmm. And we as Christians need to turn that idea upside down on its head. We need to completely kill that thought because that could not be further from the truth. Similarly, how out of the heart the mouth speaks. What's in your home then overflows into the world. Mm-hmm. And that is the along with the church speaking the truth and being bold, and then also just on a personal level, your prayer life, being in the Word, but the home, having healthy homes that actually have a living orthodoxy that is all of Christ for all of life. Your theology can't help but flow out of your fingertips, and you have a robust theology. That is how culture is changed.
Yep.
One family at a time. And it's a long game, but the home is part of the center of all of that.
Yep. And, it's funny, one of the ways that this has happened, you can see where we've not cared and we've just allowed, even I would say social media trends to just change our ideology of just education for kids. And, there is a huge, unschooling movement, and that is just ridiculous, first of all. But then second of all, there are people that have said that they sign the declaration of intent that they will homeschool their kids at least 4 hours a day, that you and I could say that they absolutely do not. And that is a lie to the government. That is a lie before the Lord. And you don't have to like the rules, but those are the rules. And so if you have signed that, then you have promised before God that you will at least give your kids 4 hours of school every day. And they don't. And, I even know that nature is a big one. Release the kids out into nature. And I think that nature is important. I think that we should, obviously kids should go out in nature, kids should explore, but not as the main form of teaching. What that's just told me? If you just decide that you're going to unschool your kids and that they're just going to, go out in nature every day and explore what they want to explore, that has just told me that you have no plans for your son to be a George Washington. You have no plans for your son to be a Booker T. Washington. You have no plans for your son to do anything impactful in the culture.
Yeah.
Your plan for your son, your plan for your daughter is just to let them coast.
Well, I'm just I
coast through life. This world is not my home. I'm just passing through.
And that is why kids need a rigorous education. Kids need to be challenged. They need to be taught to think critically. And you as a just a woman or man in every phase of life, but especially as parents, you need to be having a long-term vision that you're working towards. Like, that's part of this. There is zero vision for what we want coming out of the homes.
No thought for the future. Like, they're looking at their kids and not saying that those little souls are going to be adults and someone's going to have to deal with them.
Well, you're raising dragon slayers. You're raising the culture builders that are going to rise up and work alongside you until you pass it off to them.
Or you're raising hindrances to the dragon slayers.
Yep.
If you don't raise your kids properly, and again, we don't have kids, so we understand that there could be the argument given. We know that some people out there would say, like, well, you can't speak on this because you don't have kids. But we know wisdom from the Bible. The beautiful thing about the Bible is that it teaches about all stages of life.
Well, and part of this just comes to... I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
Oh, I was just going to say, and we have seen it done faithfully before our eyes with several great examples. We have seen several godly families raise their kids in a very godly way. And you can tell, like, even some up and coming that you're like, they're going to be a wonderful dragon slayer for the kingdom.
Well, and I think this is part of, too, the communication of our parents to show us why they're having us do the things they're having us do. Like, we're all on this journey together. And so obviously there's individual sanctification that's taking place, but there's also kind of a family unit. Like, there's things that we're all on this process and journey together. And so they explained to us the why behind what they were doing, the why behind, like, there was a whole, like, liturgy for when we were disciplined, for when we were spanked. And so, like, but by doing that, and by bringing back to the Bible time after time after time, it showed us there's a standard that is going to be upheld, and there's a vision. And so, but it also shows them, what does that communicate to the child? I am loved.
Yep.
My parents love me and respect me enough that they want me to be a competent, capable woman or man that does everything that I have been given to do excellently before the Lord.
And it showed us as kids that it was important. Like, when mom would tell people, like, no, my kids will not go to the movies with your family because, they've got work to do. They've got homeschool to do. They've got schooling that needs to happen. It showed us, you know what? This is just as important to mom as it should be for me. Like, this is important to mom. And so when then mom comes to us and says, you need to get your homework done, we would dare not say, why? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get my schoolwork done. Like, this is, because we knew that, and there are obviously some moments where there would be ungratefulness for the school, and that would need to be handled in its own way. But it showed us as kids that this was important enough for mom that she would deny an outing for us, because this school was way more important, and we knew what purpose that was for. And we knew that this was important for us to be doing because we needed to be smart, and we needed to be wise, and we needed to be competent. But also, like, just even when we didn't, when we weren't in school, I remember we used to have, mom refers to it often, blanket time. Yeah. We'd be reading a book outside on a blanket, and you couldn't get off the blanket until, the 15 minutes or whatever it was were up. And that had several purposes. One would be sitting. I'm sure you could come up with others. But we knew from the get-go that our lives and our day had a purpose. Mm-hmm. And they were purposeful. We're not saying that you shouldn't have any fun. Like, we obviously as kids had playtime. It wasn't like we just had the most hard-nosed parents that just always disciplined us and you need to be adults and grow up, kid. We had parents that, we would take our the cushions from the couches and we would make little forts. I remember in the living room, that was like one of our favorite games. And mom would cut us pears and then we'd play whatever era it was. And then dad would come home from work, and in the fort, we could all like get in the fort by the time we had set up all the cushions and put a blanket over it. And all the cushions would stay stacked up, especially because you had those really good end ones that had like that little corner that you could, hook the other cushion with. But dad would come in and like stick his hands through the little cracks in the cushions and like try to get us. And it would just get us so tickled. But so we did, obviously, there was a lot of fun to be had in the house. We're not saying, but what we're talking about, and especially as women, like, don't burn yourselves out to the point where, like, you know, you're just no help to anyone and you can't get anything done. That's not helpful. But the reason why we're bringing this up is because we don't think that that's the problem in America today. The problem is that a lot of women just aren't working as hard as they could. They aren't pushing their bodies to limits that they think that they can reach, because ultimately we don't believe what we say. Because if you believed what you'd say, then you live by conviction.
Yes.
And conviction would tell you, the Lord would tell you, Scripture would tell you that you need to be turning a profit on your time, and you need to be working excellently unto the Lord. Like, again, and we talked about the tabernacle, like, it's very important to the Lord how things that have his name stamped on them look, how things that have the Lord's name stamped on them taste, how things that the Lord's name is stamped upon, how they act and how they live. And so it is very important to God that you represent him well. And ultimately, this is a picture, and we think about it with marriage, especially in Reformed circles, like, you need to be a good reflection upon your husband's head. You need to be a glorious crown, not a tarnished crown. You need to be a glorious crown. And you need to be striving for the absolute best for your husband, and you need to be striving for the absolute best for your family. And so if you aren't, then you are not actually striving for the best for the Lord.
And I just want to go back to something real quick, just to be crystal clear, that when we're talking about that mostly the problem is that women aren't working hard enough. They're not being fruitful enough. It's not to say an occasional maybe vacation, or maybe you have one afternoon every few weeks where you do sit down and enjoy that wonderful cup of coffee in the afternoon before the dinner rush. Maybe it is the spontaneous trip every now and then during the school day where you go and get ice cream because it's warming up outside and you all have spring fever and all of this. But just some biblical categories our dad has given us that kind of like are so helpful, especially for women, because we tend to muddy the waters quite a bit, is that he'll say, okay, well, is it sin or not sin? Mm-hmm. Is it wise or unwise? And so just use your biblical discernment, that realizing within the broader picture you are building something, you are culture building Christianity. And like in the Lewis quote I quoted earlier from that book by Nancy Pearcey, it is a fighting religion. So there's a much bigger picture than even your one home. Mm-hmm. Like there's thousands of others that are building and working. But within the work, I want to also point out there can be fun. You can be a fun mom while killing it. You can be a fun woman, single. Maybe you're a grandmother now or whatever. Like, you can be fun while being extremely fruitful.
Yeah, and make the hard work enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Like, drink the coffee, but drink it while you're working. You know, like if, and again, wise or unwise, sin, not sin, wise or unwise. If you know that you're going to be absolutely killing it, like you're going to take a 30-minute break here, but you know that you're not going to get another respite until everyone is in bed and it's probably 10 o'clock at night, then by all means, or later, you know, like you've got a big project to work on, your side hustle is going and you're going to be way up into the wee hours of the morning, then by all means, take that 30-minute break and sit down and enjoy the coffee. But if that's not your life, and you do know that when your husband gets home, y'all are going to do, you know, dinner, and then you're going to hang out with the kids for a minute and then put them to bed, and then you and your husband are going to sit down together, then kill it up until that moment. And remember that, you know, if you're like, well, I might just, you know, I don't do well when I'm working hard and my brain's not functioning as well, or, you know, I might burn myself out. Just remember that the Lord, and I heard this, I'm not original with it, and I cannot remember who first told me this, but we believe in the Sabbath, and so we believe in keeping the Sabbath and keeping the one rest day every week. So the Lord has built in one whole rest day for you to rest and recover and recuperate. But with that being said, the Lord gave you the one rest day, fully expecting that the previous 6 days you would be working really hard.
Yeah.
Or else he wouldn't have given you one whole rest day out of the entire week to rest and reflect upon him.
Well, I mean, and you have the model of creation. 6 days God worked.
Yep.
And the seventh he rested. So.
But the good news is the Lord's not asking you to divide the waters. So we all have hope that the Lord is giving us tasks that can be done.
Yes. Yeah, that's like the Lord gave you all the resources you could possibly want and asked.
Yep.
Simply, I mean, it's not simple, but in a sense it is, to be fruitful.
Yep.
And so, go be fruitful.
Work was not a part of the curse.
Oh, goodness.
Be fruitful and multiply and work really hard.
Yeah.
Unto the glory of the Lord. And for excellence. Again, you could be working really hard. You could be working really hard and yet you're not doing anything with excellence. You're just working really hard. So we're not asking you to filibuster time. We're asking you, because God is asking you, to work hard as unto him.
And I heard a great quote. It's for an interview we did recently that's coming out soon. But the person said, and I don't know if it was original with them or not, but they said, lazy for the Lord is still lazy. Stupid for the Lord is still stupid. So, let's not be those things. Let's be women that are killing it and are competent. I feel like, hold on, let me see, I think there's a quote.
And while you're looking that up, and in this world that is, we're in a really weird time. And if you're paying attention to the culture, you can kind of see we're still in the feminist mindset, but then also you can kind of see that there is a great swath of people that has now swung the pendulum way to the right. And now there's all this misogyny in the world. And people are actually believing that women are just designed to work in the four corners of their house and to put a sweet little meal on the table and to be barefoot and pregnant 24/7. So don't give the people that think that women should just be barefoot and pregnant and just provide the meals at the table. And that's all that they do. That's all that the husbands are actually asking their wives to do. Don't give them a square inch of that lie. Don't give them a square inch to think that lie is true, I guess would be the way to say it. Because when you actually act like you are just a mom, and when you aren't competent, and when you aren't striving to do everything with excellence, then they're like, see, that's the point. That's why women should just be sweet and silent and just be pregnant and barefoot and just provide the meal at the table at the end of the day. That gives them all that they need, all the fuel that they need. And it also tells the feminists on the other side that, oh, see, this is exactly what we said. I don't want to be like that. It tells little girls, Mom, I don't want to be like you because it looks very unhappy. You're not striving for anything. I actually want to be somebody. And so, but I've realized that in order to be somebody, I have to be anybody but a mom. I have to be anybody but a homemaker. That is just hogwash. So let's be the type of women where the feminists look over from their side of the ditch and long to be like, I don't know, like that, like it makes them, cause them to say like, oh, I would never want to be that type of, I would never want to be a mom. I would never want to, submit to a head. But if I did, I would want to be like so-and-so, because they're the ones that clearly are, I can't put my finger on it, but there's something different about them. There's something like they're striving. They've got this really godly ambition about them. And I can't quite put my finger on it, but I'd really like to be like that woman if I was to be a homemaker. And then it causes the people on the right side that are like, just be barefoot and pregnant to be like, to look over and think like, same thing, like, and whoever that man, and I know Dad's talked about this on podcasts before, that would think like, I just want a barefoot and pregnant wife that just does what I say and, is more like a house dog, like I give, you know what I mean? It's like, I just need you to fulfill me. I need you to just exist and just provide me the meals, provide me the kids. But I don't really care about you as a person. I just care about that you do what I say.
I think they do that just because they're actually lazy and they don't want to have to learn.
Right. And so, that actually ties in beautifully to Dad's point of like, when we had him on the podcast, was that the women that are walking on the path and they're not in either ditch. The men that would strive for that type of a family where the woman really isn't striving for much, they would look at you and instantly be repulsed by you. Like, oh no, she's doing too much. I could never have that kind of a wife. I would never want to have that kind of a wife. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like the ladies look at you and they're like, the ladies on that side look at you and they're instantly like, you make my head hurt. You're doing way too much. Like, let's be those type of women that really just, they're winsome to both sides, but they also are repulsive to both sides in some form or aspect. Like the feminists, as soon as they know that you're a godly Christian woman, they'll be repulsed by it. And if they're not, if they're not actually believers, and then, but if they are, then they'll be like, oh, well, here's a godly, ambitious woman. Like, I want to be like her. And it just provides something different. Like, God did not create woman. I think Rebecca Merkel mentioned this. Like, why would the Lord, for the grand finale of creation, then top it off with a woman that's just like, all right, I just need you to do the dishes and look pretty and be pregnant and show off your feet.
And it takes it takes the glory away, though, from the task that, like, having kids is glorious. Being a mom is glorious. But, there's a much bigger vision and goal that the Lord has in mind that's at play here. Mm-hmm. And speaking of Rebecca Merkel, there's actually the quote from her someone sent me.
What?
Yes. Okay. It's from Even Exile. Too often, we just accept the premise that a homemaker drives carpool, gets the casserole in the oven, organizes the closets. Once those things are done, we feel like we have ticked all the boxes and now our time is our own. It's all too easy for us to work in order that we may have leisure, rather than working because we are convinced that we are building something phenomenal. And that mindset makes absolutely all the difference in the world. It is the difference between the employee and the boss, the hired help and the entrepreneur, the servant and the free man.
Boom.
Yep.
Do things with excellence, ladies.
Have fun. Be a joyful person to be around.
Yeah.
If you have kids, make it fun. Make your kids long to be around you.
Yep.
Obviously, eventually they need to fly the nest. But make it fun. Make your husband enjoy. Make your home a haven. Make it a fun place where people say, "I am so glad I'm home."
And if you're single and you're just, if that is you and you're just getting your nails done and working out and getting your hair done and that's what, going out to coffee, or even if you're married and, that's how you live, get it together.
Yeah.
In a polite, mean that with all respect. Honestly, your life was meant for so much more than to have beautiful nails. Your life was meant for so much more than to just hang out with your friends and have tea and coffee and all of that. Your life, you need to be striving for. Those things aren't sinful. But if you aren't actually trying to capitalize on your time and you're just filibustering your days with activities that you think bring you joy and happiness, then you aren't actually living as unto the Lord.
Yeah, go be a culture builder.
When you try to capitalize on your time and actually have godly ambition, that is culture building. And so, if all of the women did that together and linked arm in arm and stopped looking to each other for the constant friendship and the constant coffee dates and the constant whatever, and actually all pushed towards a common goal of transforming the culture as unto the Lord.
Yeah, and
it'd be incredible.
Once again, if I could pull on another Chesterton point, he's talking about basically, I'm going to summarize and paraphrase and also kind of put it in. He was talking about England at that time. But that in times such as these where things are kind of all messed up and turned upside down, you see that in our culture with, transgenderism, abortion, even we're not honoring marriage as God intended it to be, and sex in that way as well. We're not honoring it how God intended it to be. We need an unpractical man. And what he meant by that was not one who's just going to simply work within the framework of what's around you, but that's actually going to bring solutions. And I think the example he uses is like, it's wrong to fiddle while Rome is burning, but it's okay to study hydraulics while Rome is burning. So let's be the unpractical women that study hydraulics. I think it's hydraulics. Hold on real quick. I don't want to mess this up because it was an excellent point. But I would say let's be those unpractical women that actually are out to build something. I want to double check.
Something that the world doesn't know what to do with.
The theory of hydraulics.
There you go. Close enough. Well,
yeah. The spirit of hydraulics.
Putting dinner on the table. We got to roll.
Yeah.
Until next time, pursue feminine glory.
Yep.
And we will try not to ramble as much next time.
Go build something.
Go build. All right.
Yep.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Well, everyone, this is the favorite part, everyone's favorite part of the podcast, where we ask you to like and subscribe our videos because YouTube likes us to. So we're doing it. And Apple Podcasts likes us too. Wherever you find our channel, they like us to ask you to like and subscribe. So we're doing it.
So if you are in favor, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Or, you don't have to.
You can just walk away.
And we won't be offended.
Nope. If you don't like us, just walk away. Don't feel like you need to say anything. Don't feel like you need to explain yourself. Let's just do a clean breakup. You go walk away. And you don't ever have to listen to us again. So there you go.
So if you feel so obliged,
yep,
you can like it, you can subscribe, or you can go on your merry way.
Yep. Either way, the choice is up to you. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood.
Will you take the one less traveled by?
Will it make all the difference? Whether you listen to us or not. Anyway, there you go. There's our little bit that we had to say to subscribe.
All right.
So thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.